Hello, I'm Christine Abella. You might know me through a Facebook group called Selling Online. You might know me through MLM domination training. There's a few ways that you might know me. I've been online for quite a while, and I've been in network marketing for quite a while. And I want to tell you about a method that I've been using with a lot of success lately to recruit new people into my network marketing businesses. And yes, I did say businesses, because what I do is I teach people how to recruit. And as part of that process, I help them to work out which would be a good business for them to join. Now, a lot of the people who come to me are already in an MLM or a network marketing business, or they might already be in their own business that they're running. The methods that I teach can be used by just about anybody who wants to find either customers or downline, like in an MLM, online. So the basic principle is that I use Facebook a lot. So if you're not a Facebook user, then you can either ignore this because you don't want to be a Facebook user, or you can go and get a Facebook account. Now, once you've got your Facebook account, what you need to do is you need to make sure that your timeline, which is the page that people go to see you and to find out all about you, your timeline needs to have on it nothing about your business, okay? It needs to be nothing about what you're selling. So you're not going to be going on there and saying, hey, we've got a special, and hey, we're recruiting, and I think this is the best product in the world, and that sort of thing. You don't want anything like that on there, and you'll find out in a few minutes. You'll find out exactly why that is, and because it's really not a good thing for people to be able to know just by looking at your timeline that you're in a business. Now, the next thing you need to do once you've actually been on Facebook for a little while and you've got a bit of a track record, you've got your face on your profile picture, you've got something non-controversial in your header image, the thing that goes up the top, and you haven't put anything on your Facebook timeline which is political or religious or anything that might divide people, opinion type stuff. You need to be really happy and carefree and positive and that sort of thing on your timeline. Post pictures of places you've been or things you've done, or maybe occasionally go live on there if you feel comfortable doing that, showing what you're like and what your life is. And that's the sort of thing that people like to see when they're going to look at somebody's Facebook timeline. Now, the next thing you do is you're going to join some groups. So think about something that you're interested in. And when I'm telling people about this, the example that I usually give is, let's say you're interested in cooking. So maybe you love cooking, you like reading recipes, you like finding out new things. You might not be a professional chef, but you just enjoy cooking at home. So what you'll do is you'll go and join some groups, maybe 2 or 3 fairly large groups, which are very active, in which people are talking about cooking and sharing recipes and sharing ideas. Now, you want to also make sure that the group is for a geographical location where you actually want to find customers and downline. So, for example, if you're in the United States, then you want to find a group that has people in it that are in the United States, especially if that's where you actually want to sell. Me, I'm in New Zealand, which is why I've got a funny accent, but then there's not that many groups that are related to just people in New Zealand. But if that was where I wanted to sell, I would be looking for groups for people that are in New Zealand. So however, in my case, I like to sell worldwide, so I'm okay. So what I'll do is I'll go and join groups where there are people who are interested in cooking. So the next thing you do after you've joined a couple of these groups is every day you'll spend some time going and looking in the groups, and you will be commenting and making pleasant, lovely, agreeable, positive comments about things that people are posting. Don't do anything controversial, okay? Don't get involved in any arguments or anything like that. Occasionally, you might want to put up your own post. So you might say, oh, I loved the recipe that Mary posted the other day for spaghetti bolognese. Here's a picture of what I cooked from her recipe, and you'll tag Mary, okay? So you'll be positive, you'll be a very active, contributing member of these groups about cooking or whatever it is that you're interested in. Make sure it is something you are genuinely interested in. It doesn't have to have anything to do with whatever it is you're selling. Okay, so say for example you're selling essential oils, cooking and essential oils don't really have anything to do with each other. So, you know, your interest doesn't have anything to do with what you're selling. And you'll never mention what it is that you're selling in this group. Just forget that is another part of your life. Okay? So after a while, when you've been in these groups for a little while, you'll start to get a rapport. You'll start to get a connection with some of the people in the group. So there'll be some people who always like your posts and comment on your posts. There'll be people who post in there quite often, and you'll see them and you think, oh, she sounds like a really nice person. So what you'll do is you'll go away and you'll look at their timeline. Okay, so you'll click on their name and you go and look at their timeline. So let's use Mary as the example. So you go away and you look at Mary's timeline and you look at her timeline. And when you look at her timeline, what you want to look out for is she trying to sell something? Okay, because if she's trying to sell something, then chances are if you try to connect with her, she's going to try and sell you stuff, and you don't want that. You also don't really want to make friends with somebody who has opposing opinions about things to what you do. So if you're, you know, one way, you sway one way in politics and they sway the other, maybe not so much, because you want to remain uncontroversial. So you want to make friends with people who in real life you would want to make friends with. Okay, so you also don't want to go with somebody who is hardly ever posting on Facebook, or somebody who doesn't have their own picture on their timeline. So find people that you think you could be friends with, and then send them a friend request. Okay, so then they're going to know who you are because they've seen your posts on the cooking group or whatever it is. So you send them a friend request, or maybe they'll send you a friend request because they will, you know, have seen your stuff. So if they send you a friend request, you do the same thing. You go away and look at their timeline and see if this is somebody that you want to be friends with. And if it is, click accept. If it's not, click delete. Okay. So what you've then done is you've made a friend. You've got a connection with that person, and you can then PM each other, which is private message each other. So you're going to start a Facebook chat using Facebook Messenger. And in that chat, to start off with, you're going to talk about cooking. Okay, you're not going to say, hey, hi, I saw you on the cooking group. Do you want to buy some essential oils? That's not going to happen. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to start talking about cooking, or you're going to find something which is on their timeline that you have in common. Like, oh, you live in Chicago? Hey, I went to Chicago a couple of years ago. I loved it. I went on this river cruise. This is a true story. I went on this river cruise and looked at the architecture, and it was amazing, and I really liked it. So you'll talk about things, not about your essential oils or your essential oil company or anything like that. You'll be talking about things that you have in common. Cooking, or you've got the same kind of dog, or, you know, you went to where they lived, or whatever. You know, they might say to you, oh, you live in New Zealand. I'd love to go to New Zealand. So then you start talking about New Zealand, whatever it is. You know, you'll start talking just like anybody else that you might meet at a party. Okay. So what will happen is you'll have this conversation with this person, and it might go on for a couple of hours, it might go on for a couple of days, whatever it is. It's just going to carry on, and you're going to make friends with this person and get to know them. But then what's going to happen is at some point you're going to say, you know, drop something in that's going to just change things a little wee bit. And what you're going to say is something like, oh, I love cooking with my slow cooker because I can actually put food in the slow cooker in the morning, and then because I work from home later on in the day, I know that I've got a meal ready and I don't have to, you know, rush out and get stuff. Okay, so what you're doing is you're still talking about cooking or whatever is the topic of the conversation that you're having, but you've dropped in that I work from home. Okay, so you've dropped in that little nugget of I work from home. So now sometimes people will jump on that and say, oh, you work from home? I've always wanted to work from home. Tell me about that. But most of the time people will just let that ride. But you've told them you work from home, but, you know, just let that ride. The next thing might happen is, you know, a little while later, further down the conversation, might be hours or days or minutes later, and who knows, you'll find an opportunity to drop in another little nugget. And you might say something like, oh, I've loved these new knives that I bought. They're so much better for cutting up the vegetables. I've been earning a little bit of extra money lately, and so I've been able to go out and afford these really good knives, and it makes things so much easier. What sort of knives do you use? You know, so what you've done there is you've dropped in that little nugget of, I'm making a little bit of extra money lately. And again, that'll add on to the previous bit of information about, she works from home, she's making extra money. Okay, so eventually if you drop in enough of these little hints, somebody will say to you, oh, you're earning money from home? Tell me about that. So what you've done is they've opened the door for you. They've opened the door. They have invited you to tell them about what you do. So what I'll normally do at that stage is I won't come in and get in their face and say, oh, I sell essential oils, I'm with this company and they have this range, and yada 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 yada, spew spew spew. What I'll say is something like, oh, I sell essential oils and I'm really enjoying it, and then go on and talk about something else. Okay, so you'll just drop in this is what I do. Don't name the company, just this is what I do and I'm really enjoying it, or it's doing well for me, something like that. And then you go on and talk about other things. And if they're interested, they'll keep asking you about it, okay? So you've then got permission to tell them. So there's a few things that could happen here. One is that they might be not at all interested. They might say, to themselves, well, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm not even going to bother to ask her. But at least they've filed away in the back of their mind, okay, this person sells essential oils online, and if I ever want to know about that, she's somebody I could go to. So further down the track, maybe their sister's thinking of getting into essential oils. And so they'll say to them, hey, well, I know this person on Facebook and she's selling essential oils. Maybe you could ask her. So there's one thing that could happen, is that they're not interested, but they've filed it away in their mind about, a fact about you, and they'll come back to you later. Another thing that could happen is they might say to themselves, oh, that sounds good. I could maybe ask her about that. And so they'll ask you, well, tell me more about it. And then you can start telling them about it, but you do it in a very subtle, quiet, friendly way. And you just say things like, I'm selling essential oils. I really like the products. Actually, right here, I have on my desk, I have a set of essential oils. So you can show them, say, look, these are the essential oils that I sell. I really like these ones, and this one's good for this, and this one's good for that, and this is what I really like. And you'll, by that time, have some idea about whether this person is more likely to be a customer who's going to want to buy your essential oils, or whether they're somebody who is maybe not that well off and might want to earn some money, and so you might want to talk to them more about the earning side of things, more about the opportunity of them selling essential oils under you, or whatever it is, the product that you're doing. Okay, so you'll have he'll have something to talk about. You can either talk about, oh yeah, I really like this one. This is lemongrass. This is really good because it helps me to relax, and it's also really good if I'm feeling a bit unwell. It helps to clear me up. Whatever it is, you'll learn about the products that you're selling, and you'll be able to talk to them about that. So, or you'll be able to say, well, yeah, my customers really like lemongrass, and when I sell this to them, they do really well because of this, this, or this. So you can then start talking to them about either buying from you, or about being a representative under you. Now, another thing that could happen is they could say, well, actually, I'm not interested in selling essential oils, but hey, I sell Tupperware, or some completely different product. Would you like to buy Tupperware? And they'll try to take control of the whole situation and try to recruit you. Now, I've got nothing against Tupperware. I sold Tupperware for years and years, and I use it a lot. So I'm just using that as an example. Nothing against Tupperware or Tupperware people. But, they might try to recruit you. So then what you can do is you can then turn it around, and you can take control back, and you can say, look, thanks, that's great. I love Tupperware products, and if I'm ever wanting to buy a Tupperware stuff, I'll let you know. But how are you going for recruiting? Okay, so you can turn it around and you can say to them, how are you going with recruiting people? Because something like 97% of people who are in multi-level marketing companies have difficulty recruiting. Okay, and so what you can do is you've got a 97% chance that person who's trying to recruit you is having difficulty recruiting. So you can turn it around and you can take control of the situation, and you can say, how are you going with recruiting people? And chances are they're going to say, well, actually, if they're going to be honest with you, they'll say, well, actually, it's not going that well. And so then you've taken control, and you can then help to coach them and guide them and be their mentor and teach them what I'm teaching you right now about how to recruit people. Okay, so if that helps, and if you think you can do that, if you think, yeah, that's not that difficult. The worst thing that can happen is you've made a friend. The worst thing that can happen is that you're going to meet somebody and have this long conversation with them, and in the end, they're not going to do anything. Okay, you're not going to lose anything. You're not, and maybe they have an opportunity you'll join, but probably you won't. But you'll benefit from this. This will be a really good experience for you. So if you think you can do this, if you think this is something that, yeah, I can do that. I can talk to people on Facebook. It doesn't have to be on a webcam like this. It can all be just written in the chat thing. If you think you can do that, and if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're thinking, well, yeah, I've got those skills, I can do that, then get in touch with me. However you found this video, there'll be some link or something below. Get in touch with me. Talk to me on Facebook, and I'll help you to work out what is the best opportunity for you. Or I can send you this further training where you can find out a bit more about this method. Okay, but that's it. See you later.
Game over.